All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gray's Kickstart Your Advertising, Sales, Marketing, and Digital Media Career event. My name is Christina Wilson. I'm a sales recruiter at Gray. We'll be recording this session and posting it on our YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch it or share it with friends. I'll drop a link in the chat, and we'll plan to do these events periodically. We'll touch base on different topics each time, so be on the lookout for future events. And you can sign up for those events at grayishiring.com. I am going to go ahead and start off with a nice little video about Gray. So we'll start there while I drop those links in the chat.
When we say grow with Gray, we mean Gray gets you where you want to go. With more than 100 markets and top-rated stations from coast to coast, you will find the perfect fit. Cover the nation's biggest events, create award-winning content, and tell stories that matter to your community. Gray invests in investigative journalism, a culture of asking questions and finding solutions. Gray's growth-focused, customized training is designed to help you succeed and get you to the next level. Gray knows you deserve the best benefits in the business. Seriously. And bosses who understand work-life balance. So get noticed, get going, and start growing. Grow with Gray.
That's right, grow with Gray. So today I'm joined by Stephen Cruz. He is my partner in crime in the recruiting department and my friend. He's wonderful. He'll be monitoring the chat. So if you have questions along the way, drop them in there and we'll do our best to get all those answered. I'm also delighted to be joined by Ron Bartholomew, General Manager at WNDU in South Bend, Indiana, and Deval Wins. He's a rock star account executive at WIS in Columbia, South Carolina. Welcome, Ron and Deval. I'd love to hear a little bit from both of you about kind of your experience and your path that got you where you are today.
Deval, why don't you go ahead and take the floor?
Yeah, no problem. My name is Deval. I'm an account executive with Gray Television. My experience does come from a sales background. I did medical sales and I worked in print sales as well. And from there, I was introduced to TV sales through a couple of connections and have had a successful career here for 3 years.
Nice.
Mine is a little bit longer. Again, Ron Bartholomew. I'm the general manager here at WNDU Television in South Bend, Indiana. I started my career in New Orleans, Louisiana, as you probably can tell from my dialect. I started as an account executive, just like Deval. Worked in New Orleans for some years, transitioned from AE to national sales manager, director of new business development, digital sales manager, general sales manager, and so forth and so on. I've worked in New Orleans. I worked in Tampa for most of my career. I've worked in Memphis, and now I'm at WNDU for the last year and a half as general manager. So the reality is that I got to this seat from sales. It was a great opportunity and great opportunities to move up. And I guess today I stand before you or sit before you in evidence of what I just pretty much talked about.
Yep, I love that. So I always like to get started for people that may not be familiar with Gray, just sharing a little bit about our company. I'm not trying to brag, well, maybe a little bit, but we're kind of a big deal. Gray owns the most number 1 and number 2 rated television stations and digital assets in the country. So I just found out last week that we picked up another market. So we own stations in 114 markets in 39 states, and we have a bureau in Washington, D.C. So collectively, Gray reaches 36% of the U.S. households. And when it comes to our digital assets, there are absolutely no limits. So what does this mean for you? Great opportunities for upward mobility and an incredible amount of support from a company that cares about their employees. And I want to touch on our benefits a little bit too, because I know when I'm looking for a job, these matter. You know, I have a family that, you know, that relies on these benefits. So first and foremost, Gray offers an $18 per hour minimum wage company-wide. Obviously, with sales, you can expect to make more than that, right? But I always say when looking at a company, look at how they treat their entry-level folks. If they treat them well, then you know you're in good hands. Gray also offers a free healthcare option for our employees, which is kind of insane and amazing. We also have a 5% 401k match. That's free money for retirement. I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't want to work until I'm 70 like my dad did, and I want to retire well. So that 401k match is awesome. We also have paid parental leave for both moms and dads, and we've expanded our paid time off to help give you that good work-life balance you're looking for. So besides the benefits, why Gray, right? I know many of you listening in are currently in school. Gray offers paid internships for current college students. These are not go get me coffee and run my errands types of internships. We pay you because we're going to put you to work and we're going to give you training along the way with real world hands-on experience that you can use in your professional life. Our sales and marketing internships normally last 8 to 12 weeks, and we do them year round. While each station handles them a little differently, our interns are often able to sit in on weekly sales meetings, go out on sales calls with account executives, do research, cold call businesses, and help put together sales presentations. You're going to learn a lot in a short amount of time. Also, our interns are given first consideration for full-time employment. So these internships are a great way to, what I say, try before you buy for both you and the station. So if you land an internship with Gray, lean in, work hard, and show them what you've got. It's a great opportunity. And you can view more details and apply for our internships at gray.tv/internships. So I will drop that in the chat a little later on. But now, Ron, I wanted to kind of focus on our upward mobility at Gray because I think it's amazing. I think Jennifer ran those numbers earlier this year, and we had around 400 internal promotions so far this year, which is kind of insane. So I wanted to hear more from you on that upward mobility track at Gray.
Okay. Well, listen, just a few years ago, I was a general sales manager here at Gray. I think the upward mobility, I think the biggest thing about it is Gray is a people-centric company. Your hard work won't go unnoticed. If you work hard, do what you need to do, always about trying to progress the station forward in which you work. The residual effect of that is that the company moves forward. The stations are primarily here to serve the community. It's like we're here to make sure we, inspire, we educate, we empower, and we keep the community safe. So that's the major components of what you do and play your part to make that happen at each and every station. The benefit to that is if you do want to progress in your career, if you do want to move forward, it won't go unnoticed. There's a lot of our team members who do, tremendous work. And based on the numbers that Christina just stated, it's plus 400 that's been promoted within the company. I would like to think that that's unheard of, but I also like to think of it as being phenomenal. And the reality of it is being the general manager here at WNDU is evidence that happens. Just since 2019, I've been with Gray, and I would say after about 2 years, a little bit, maybe 2 years, 2.5 years, is when I started getting phone calls about running my own station. And today I sit here before you at WNDU as the general manager. So it's a real thing. The opportunities are there. We need to be able to get you to come into the company. We offer the best training. I've worked for another major network company, and I think that the training is great at most of the companies, but I've never seen the training that we provide here at Gray. So if you basically come into this company, you get an opportunity, take advantage of that opportunity. The sky's the limit.
Absolutely. So leading into training, Deval, I wanted to kind of hear a little bit more about that from you. Last week I went to the sales training in Charlotte. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. So tell me, Deval, about coming into the company and that training experience.
Absolutely. Well, if I can give good advice, one thing that you'll know is you can tell a lot about a company by their training, of course, because right off the back, you get a taste of that culture and what to expect from your day-to-day job. And that was one of the reasons why I knew I was secure in Gray, because the training is not only just the 2 weeks that you're there in Charlotte, but it's continuous. And I think for anyone starting out a career, they want to be in a position where they're always given the tools to grow and have more opportunity. Just like Ron said, this is a job that doesn't just stop at the floor level. We want to put you on an elevator and keep you going. And so that's what I love about the Gray training experience, is that you're going to have tools that you get to take, whether you want to start your own business or tools just in life that I still utilize today after 3 years from the time that I originally was trained through Gray training. And then another cool experience with it is just the connections and network you meet. A lot of our Gray team actually came from my station, which is WIS here in Columbia. And so I love the,
Mendoza, she's
yes,
amazing.
she is awesome. She is super awesome. And they care. They care a lot. I mean, they put a lot of attention in each individual person. You're not just feeling like you're clumped into a crowd, but you're an actual person representing your station, your state, or wherever you decide to station yourself amongst the Gray companies that we have, which obviously you see is a lot. So there's a lot of opportunity out of the training that I think that you'll not only take with you from that experience, but you'll take outside of it into your life. It's very impactful. And then two, it also leaves you with a lot of skills that you'll just generally not get from any other sales opportunity. I've been a part of 3 different sales companies, and my confidence as far as how I position myself with my clients, how I allow myself to explore my creativity, because I'm a very artistic and creative person. And I love that training didn't ignore that. They take the best in you and they say, how can we utilize that so that not only can you make good money, but you can also feel like yourself and sell to the best potential that you have and be comfortable.
I love that. That was beautiful. Another thing that I really loved about training was kind of that you form a little community with all the other new account executives that go with you. You know, they're from all over the country, but you form friendships very quickly in that situation. And so at least I know with my group, now we have a group chat where, you know, people are encouraging each other, tossing ideas out to each other and things like that too. And I think that's really amazing and powerful that, you know, you have so much support at your station and with the training team, but then you also that have that other level of friendship, you know, and help throughout the company. So very cool. Cool. All right. Next, I'm going to show a nice little sales and marketing video that we put together. Pay attention. You may recognize someone in this video. All right, let's go.
An account executive is a member of the advertising sales team.
We work to sell television advertising as well as digital advertising.
We get to work with different businesses, help them create marketing campaigns that will allow them to grow.
My day consists of really kind of a mixture of anything. You know, you never know what the next day is going to look like.
I'm often on the road meeting with prospective clients and talking to them about their goals for advertising.
At one minute, I could be putting together an advertising campaign, and then the next day I could be on a production shoot for a commercial.
Some of the skills that you need to be successful is to be able to listen. You really need to go into a meeting with an open mind to be able to listen to the client.
And you have to be confident. Think about walking into a local business and talking to them about the best ways to help grow their business.
What I love most about working with Gray Television and WIS TV is the legacy that we have in our community.
What's great about Gray or WTOC is that we can work with a local agency all the way to the smallest mom and pop that might be located down the road.
We're really sales friendly, very sales focused, very motivating team here. It makes me happy to say that I work for Gray every day.
The man, the myth, the legend, Deval Wins. I love it. So now I kind of wanted to dive more into detail on what an account executive does. I know I do a lot of school visits, and when I'm talking with students, they kind of have misconceptions about what our salespeople do. I think sometimes folks hear sales and there's a certain ick associated with it. But that's not the case at Gray. You know, our station brands are strong, and there's definitely a certain level of respect given to our station and our account executives. So Deval, I'd love to hear from you about, you know, what you do as an account executive.
Oh boy, what do I not do?
Right?
Yeah, I mean, to put it in the base of what we do is we put our local businesses on air and air TV, meaning anything broadcast and digital. And so from start to finish, what that looks like for you is you become a partner with that business. That business says, hey, I need to grow my brand. I need to grow leads. I need to just let people know that I exist, right? And so what we do is we start with just reminding them first the importance of their business and what marketing does for them to grow, and building that confidence in them. And through that process, there, of course, is paperwork, which I think a lot of people see a part of the sales process, but it's a little bit more than that for us, which makes it exciting. We get to be there with the creative talks. And so a lot of times you see on TV and you wonder, well, who actually puts together those ideas with these companies to create these really cool commercials or jingles that you just can't get out of your head? That's us. We're in that position. We work with our production team. We work with our news team directly because we're an advocate for that client. And then once we're able to build that for them, you're having a continuous relationship with them. So my day never looks the same. It could be anything from, hey, just eating at a fancy restaurant with a client to show them how much I appreciate them and just talking business and growth. Or it could be showing up to their gala because they work with a nonprofit and they really would love the presence of WIS TV there. Each day is so different. And so literally you truly are your own brand and business with this job. Your representation isn't just sitting at a desk and typing in some keys and making phone calls. It's getting an opportunity at every chance to sell yourself and who you are. And that's what I love about this job is that the description almost doesn't do it any justice on how much opportunities you have to do that, besides the typical things that a lot of people see on the outsides, which does involve calling. That is important because you have to make that connection. But it also is being able to be available for your community and the businesses out there.
Absolutely.
Anything else I should add to that?
No, I thought that was great. It really is. It's a relationship building process. You do a lot of listening in your job, right?
Yes.
So Ron, you know,
Yeah.
as a GM, as a hiring manager, what traits do you look for, you know, in your account executives?
I think, you know, some of the things that I look for personally, and this could be this can differ by general manager or sales manager or so forth and so on. I look for a positive attitude. I think that's very, very important. You know, in the interview process, you're looking to determine if this person has great character. You know, character and integrity plays a big part. I think something else that's very, very important is the adaptability of that person. There's going to be times that you receive information that you may not right off the cuff can have you to feel one way or the other. You have to be able to adapt. Just like when Deval was talking about going into these meetings, you have to be a good listener. And when you're listening sometimes something can come out of left field, but it shouldn't change or determine how you're going to do what you're there to do. You're there to present your value, and the value of great television, and you're also there to maximize the messaging of that particular client. And so you can't assume what you're going to hear. You have to be there as an organic listener to be able to take that and process that. And I think to be able to adapt, predicated on the information that you receive, is going to be very, very important. And I think the last thing that I would like to say, don't get me wrong, there's a million things that I probably can say about when I look in, you know, for a candidate as an account executive. But the reality is that we need to have great people to come into this company. The only way to have a company to maintain its status of being great or to become greater is by people. We can, as an organization, we have to have systems, right? Those systems in an organization will a lot of times show you who's who, what's what. Now, the thing about this is that systems does not make companies great. People do. So the hires have to be critical hires. And I think that last component that I wanted to talk about was continuous learning. We want someone with that positive attitude that I stated first. And the last thing that I'm going to say is being a continuous learner. Continue to invest in yourself. The one great thing about Gray is that we provide continuous learning through there's dashboards and there's actual web training center, which you can go ahead and learn things. Let's say if you're taking a class and you didn't grasp it as much as you've wanted to, maybe if you've taken a lot of notes, you can always go back. And then there's quizzes and things of that nature. But it's only going to be as good as what you put into it. You can't expect to maximize your potential if you're not investing in anything. So just like Christina pretty much stated in the beginning, listen, we pay you and we pay well right out of the gate, but our expectations are for us to be successful and ultimately to serve our community in a premier fashion.
Amen. I love it when you speak. You have so much knowledge. So listen to this man. He's a genius. I wanted to dive a little bit into our products. I know, whenever I talk with people, they're like, okay, TV. And TV is such a powerful media. It is so important, and not only TV, but, our news and weather apps and but all these digital products that we offer too. We have some really cool things going on. So I'd love to kind of hear from both of you about our products. How do we stand out from the crowd? How are we able to pair our products together to bring our clients success?
Okay, I'll go ahead and take that away. I work closely with pretty much all these products on hand. And I think one of the cool things is we don't realize how much these products impact our day-to-day experience as consumers until you're on the inside doing what we do every day, which is getting these to our clients so they can utilize them the best that they can. And I think one of the cool things about Gray is constantly giving us training, because even though there's new products that may come out, rather it's voice or video or display, the same product can replicate and update itself. So for example, streaming TV is becoming very lucrative amongst people who watch. You probably have Hulu or one of the other services where you get served an ad and you're wondering, wow, this is really connected to who I am as a consumer. And a part of that is realizing how much this is becoming more targeted. And so, how are we able to educate our client without bogging them down on everything that we know, but also creating an experience where we're constantly keeping up with targeting trends of how people are seeing this message or perceiving this message from a local standpoint for the client.
I pretty much second the motion of what Duval just stated. I think one of the key points to keep in mind here is that Gray is a company that continues to progress. Like, we move forward. Something that we offer today can have more bells and whistles tomorrow. So we're a cutting edge company that's always on the cusp of state-of-the-art opportunities and the different products that we have. If you look at this particular sheet here, the one sheet, you'll see television commercials at the bottom. So television has been the foundation of who we are and what we do. But, the communities that we serve, and every market is just a little bit different. But the reality is that television is so essential for the reason that it's our foundation. And there's an expectation from our consumers, from our viewers, that we provide a premium and state-of-the-art experience in television. And then comes the other digital and cutting-edge products. And so Gray has made a commitment to move the company forward into the next stratosphere by continuing to serve the audience that have made us whole over the last few decades, and also to move us into the new stratosphere. So everything that we offer, this is something that Duval goes out and do, and the account executives across our company, they utilize these products as their tools to be able to serve you. Something that may work for one person, you can go to one company where television is everything that they want, right? And everything that they feel that they need. You may go to another one where they feel like paid search is what they need, or they need OTT, or they need, it's just different things. And so we have that. But a lot of times, if we go in and we listen, We find out what the client needs analysis is, and then we pair those products, specific products, to address those needs to drive a return on the investment.
Yes, very cool. So to prepare for a job, how can students and sales folks kind of prepare for a position in advertising sales? Do you have any suggestions?
I would say, and listen, I know Duval may have some answers for sure. I would always say, if you're trying to prepare, do your homework. Use the internet to find out as much as you can. What are some of the major components or elements of the ideal salesperson or account executive in a certain field? All those things addressable to you. If not, I would try to be able to find out how I can be better with regards to those elements and or components to be, I don't know if it's a true way to be able to give a direct and straight answer. I'm just telling you what I would do. You have to invest in yourself. If you invest in yourself and ask questions to the point where you could almost drive someone crazy, right? I mean, literally, if you want answers, talk to Duval. Talk to other account executives. Make a phone call. Tell someone that you're interested. Trust me, one thing about successful people, there's a trait that we have, right? And I'm saying we in that because I consider myself to be successful, but I also know that there's a lot for me still to learn in life and in my job. And there's just a lot that you can always learn and become better. But the one thing I think that we have, for every opportunity of success that we've been able to attain, we know that we should be giving back or reaching back, right? So it's nothing like giving you our experiences. You have both Duval on the call and as well as myself. As you all can see, I'm a lot older than Duval, but you can see how intelligent he is and how invested he is into his career. He's done sales in other genres of business, but the reality is that he loves what he actually does now. And I think the important thing about that is that we're here to help you now, to give you an idea of what your opportunity can look like. But we also don't want to paint a picture of all roses and things of that nature. In learning, one of the major components to learning is, I'll tell you one secret to success right off the top, and that's to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Wherever comfort lives, there's no growth. It's just a fact. You have to get uncomfortable, be willing to do something or put in the work that you've never done before. We've all had that uncomfortable feeling of going to school on the first day. And then maybe we had a lot of great experiences that year. Maybe some experiences that year were not so great. But when you take it and put it all together, when you look at the portfolio of what you learned that year, it's always going to be something that you probably learned when things were most uncomfortable. So don't be afraid of that. Welcome that. And if you welcome that, you'll welcome yourself to great opportunities.
I love that. I love that. It's so true. Every opportunity in life, I feel like I've gone in uncomfortable, and, that's how you learn and get better. So kind of going along with that, Duval, so you're doing this job. I mean, what do you believe is essential for being successful in sales? Like, what does it take?
Oh boy. I don't know if I can follow up Ron on that amazing message. I'm still over here sweating. I would say, in my own tacky way, when it comes to job opportunities or the way I see things, I always try to, because I'm a dreamer, I always try and picture myself in that position. So even before I got to the end of this interview process with Gray or WIS, I was trying to put myself in the position, like, could I see myself up there at that presentation, talking to that client confidently? What would that success look like for me to close a really big deal? What would it look like for me to be the face of a station that I have grown up watching since I was a kid? And so, and that experience, I think I was able to develop the things that I knew I needed to grasp onto early on. So I was like, well, I'm trying to pretend to do this presentation, but I actually can't even get the words out of what I'm actually trying to say. So then I'd be like, well, let's go learn something about Google. And so then I would learn a little bit about Google, and then I would practice that. And I was like, wow, this sounds and looks really good on me. And so I would definitely say, as you all kind of look at, what does that future look like? Put yourself in that position, put yourself in that seat. It may seem a little weird, but in those spaces alone, I know you guys all think about, what do I want to do with the next 5 or 10 years of my life? Can I see myself in this position? Can I see myself with this suit on? Can I see myself with this jargon? And as you go along that process and you go, I really could see myself in a career this way, it'll kind of lead down the path where you'll find the right connections at looking at YouTube advertising, or, how does Facebook paid social work? And it allows you to start talking the lingo and start talking the language that you need in order to say, like, hey, this is a career that I could potentially see myself doing because I love learning about this. I love pretending to do cold calls. And trust me, when you get in this career, you're going to do a lot of practice with your manager. So you better get used to looking crazy and giving fake presentations now. You're going to need
That's
it.
true. That's true.
Well, yeah, and we're not looking for perfection. You're gonna make mistakes. That's how you learn. But it's you do need to learn and be able to grow from that and everything. So I love that. Yesterday, kind of when we were prepping for this, going along with what you were saying, Deval, we kind of were talking about our why. You have to know why you want to do this job, or what is pushing you to be successful. You guys want to? I don't know if you want to share your whys with me, but I thought it was really cool. So.
Deval, you could go first if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my why is very personal to me. I think one of the things that we talked about in our conversation was I had a very tricky year during COVID. I was actually laid off 2 times, believe it or not, due to COVID. A lot of jobs were trying to shorten their teams. And at a young age, I got to experience sort of this weird space of turmoil, which when you're at this age, there's no such thing as turmoil, especially when you have people who provide for you because you can always move back home. But like I said before, that really wasn't an option for me. I really wanted to make my parents proud of me. They worked really hard to give me and my sister a really good life. And so failing was not an option. And being able to apply for this job thinking that I was not qualified at all, and given the opportunity to be a part of such a great sales team, and seeing that look on my parents' face, and they were like, wow, you work for a station that's a pretty big deal in our community. That made my world. That lit up my face. And then getting the opportunity to be blessed with the income that I have now is absolutely incredible. I mean, I was telling them the story of, once I got to a certain point in my career, monetary wise, I bought my parents season basketball tickets to our local state school, University of South Carolina, go Gamecocks. And they love going to the basketball games, actually going to one tonight, and being able to do that kind of stuff for my friends or family, it means a lot to me. I don't know what your position is in life for many of you, but I'm sure there's people that you can think that, I make these sacrifices. I'm working hard so that one day I can provide for my family, or one day when my parents get old, I'll be able to take care of them. And so for me, that's definitely the why of why I do this and what keeps me going.
Beautiful.
That's excellent, Deval. That is excellent, man. It means a lot. I have a very similar story. My why is just simply because I wanted to be somebody, man. My parents put a lot into me as well. And, I don't want to, we're both given a similar story in a way. And, we have to understand that everybody doesn't have the same upbringing, or doesn't, that things are just different for everybody. So I think there's one thing that if we're trying to do for ourselves, there's always someone who's going to be there to try to invest in you. And the fact that I wanted to be somebody kind of came from my father telling me every time he dropped me off at school, he always said that when I got out of the car. And it's something that just stuck with me. So I think my why has kind of changed, but foundationally, that's always been there. I think my why now is understanding the power of the platforms that we have, is that I want to make sure that as a television station and as myself being a leader and co-leader of the station, because my department head are leaders as well. I can't run the station without them and without everyone who works here. But our why together is to contribute positively to our community, right? And when I say to the community, I mean everyone. There's also a flip side of that. We also want to contribute positively to the team members in the station. And we want to provide an inclusive culture, meaning that all ethnicities, meaning that gay, straight, you name it, everybody, it doesn't matter. We're all human beings. And we have an opportunity to continue to serve. But I do understand the fact that a part of leadership is in serving our external entity as well as our internal entity, that it's going to be very important how it's a hard thing for me to kind of explain. It's something that I live. I will tell you guys this, that my why and my purpose has put me in a position where I can be myself. Literally, I am myself as the general manager of WNDU. There's nothing I had to really change except for being willing to continue to learn. And I think that you have to understand your purpose in life. And that purpose will be addressable anywhere that you take it. I think the opportunity of coming into Great and having a purpose of wanting to be successful, you have so many opportunities to do that. Whether that's working on the sales team, because I understand that we're talking about account executive opportunities, but we also have news opportunities, right? If a lot of you guys live in the world of social media, that social media is all a residual effect of television and of video, which has been going on for years and years and years. And so one of the things I would do in finding your purpose and understanding your why you want to be successful, I would also try to find someone who looks like what I want to be like. That someone for me was my father. But there's a lot of other people who poured into me in this company. And there's two of them that work for this company now that has done that. And they both, one is a GM and one is a news director. But if I just go back to the foundational why, I wanted to be someone who was going to be successful, and I knew I had to be in a position of service. And so my why, as much as it may continue to change on the top levels, because it has to match whatever occupation and whatever responsibility I have, that my foundational why is I simply just wanted to be somebody and to serve mankind.
Whew, I have chills. I'm not lying. Ugh, man, I'm telling you, that Ron Bartholomew wisdom. And really that is, I love that you brought up, being authentically you too, because I think a lot of times people think that in sales, you need to be someone else or play a part, and that's just not true. We want you to be yourself, and lean into that and be confident in you. And I think I talk with a lot of people that, I ask them, why do you want to do this? And they're like, I want to make a lot of money. And we all do, right? Obviously we all want to, be able to take care of our families and things like that. But it's that foundational why. You really got to figure out, why you want to do this position beyond money and things like that. And that will really drive you to be successful. So I love that. That was so beautiful. So I love to have a real talk here. So Deval, I want to hear from you. What's the hardest part of being an account executive?
Not having 20 clones.
That's a good answer, Deval.
Yeah, that is definitely the hardest part. Actually, I think it's not only the hardest part, it's the part that puts the biggest cape on your back. Like, it's the part where you learn to carry your trophy very high. Is you're one person and you got to make every client believe that it's just you and them. And I do it well every day. I'm just gonna go brag on myself a little bit. So yeah, I would say definitely one thing that's really cool, and I I heard this and I don't know why it like resonated with just more than my brain. It resonated with my soul, but I read an article that was showing research that humans can't actually multitask. It's impossible for us. Our brain pathways won't let us. So at some point, something actually does get left behind when you're trying to do multiple things at one time. And that really stuck out to me because it made me realize like how incredible this job has been for me as far as learning how to face the facts that, like they said, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to have a lot of learning curves. But that's the hard part that you have to get over, you know, and I'm like, if that's the hardest thing that I got to worry about is learning that, you know, if I didn't make this deadline on time, or and because I have to focus more on this, or maybe I was only able to get to this meeting at this time and I have to reschedule the other one, then that's something that I'm willing to deal with. But that definitely is my biggest challenge is realizing that I can't do everything and be everything to everybody at once.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
about all the different personalities you come in contact with? I know I worked at an ad agency for 11 years, and so my clients at times, you know, I loved them all. But sometimes those personalities, you know,
Oh boy.
that can be a challenge too.
Absolutely. I think that well, I think one thing you also have to take into consideration is I can't imagine what it's like to actually have to run the businesses that they run every day. So I always try to lead in with a room of empathy and understanding that it's not you. You know, if I tell you guys anything when you start this career, it's not you. Trust me. You know, there's tons of strategies that I've built that have been spat on. There's tons of opportunities where, you know, I felt like, oh my God, I'm about to lose the biggest deal in my life. And then a day later, the person comes back and says, all right, I'm good. I just had a meltdown. And you're like, oh, great. I didn't lose $60,000 a month. And so it's definitely one of those things where you have to take a step back and tell yourself you're doing all that you can do. And this is with any job. You're doing all that you can do. And as long as you put your best foot forward, what happened is supposed to happen. There's a reason for everything, and it's a part of your learning experience. And I say all that to piggyback off of what you were saying. Yeah, absolutely. You're dealing with people, you don't know what's been going on in their day. You don't know, you know, how they got to where they are. You know, maybe that tough exterior that they're putting on is what makes them the business person that they are. And you have to figure out a strategy of how to get past that wall. And, you know, and sometimes you open up and there's the best clients you ever had. And then sometimes you have some people who there is no wall, there's just nothing there. You know, they won't give you any tips on their business or talk to you. And you're like, God, this is like pulling teeth. Everybody has a way of coping and protecting themselves. You do too. We all deal with the world in our own special way. And a part of this job is figuring out each of those personalities and how to deal with people, because I'm a firm believer that everybody deserves to be heard and everybody deserves to be seen. So you have to figure out how to get past that and get to the people we are.
Because at the end of the day, that's what it is. We're all people.
Yeah.
So.
Christina, I would like to say that the hardest part of the job, and I'll go back to when I was in AE, right?
Yeah.
I can give you perspective from then and now. When I was in AE, I think the hardest part of the job was people turning me down. I wasn't prepared for that, right? I've always tried to be a very good person, always tried to bring value, but I think that when someone turns you down or don't give you a chance to be able to verbalize what you're presenting and things of that nature, and like Duvall said, you don't know what they're going through. You can walk into a hornet's nest. You don't know, someone's mother could not feel well, right? People, we're all human beings, so you just don't know what you're going to walk into. They can have their kid could be sick. They don't really have time to talk about sales today, right? But you put all of this work into trying to present, or you don't get an opportunity. But I found a way to turn that around, because I as I became more mature into my occupation, it was like, I can't let my hard work go to waste. So I'll tell you a trick that I found. Let's just say if it was a plumbing company, and I go to call on Jack and Joni's Plumbing, and I get in there and I've done all of this studying and feasibility on plumbing and how many plumbers there are in, South Bend and blah, 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 blah. And I got it all mapped out. Been looking at this, studying this for a long time. And they cut me down, or maybe they don't talk to me so nice. When I was a younger AE, which was years ago, but that kind of hurt me. And it was hard for me to recover. Once I got like more acclimated to my business discipline, I was like, okay, so I'm at Jack and Joni's Plumbing. Well, guess what? I'm going to Rosie's and Rosalind's Plumbing, and I'm going to take the same ideas that I had, and I'm going to present it to their #1 competitor. So I found a way to be able to take my work that I've already invested and be able to take that and to present it to someone else in hopes of getting that opportunity. There's a couple of things that's going to happen if the other plumbing company purchases it. The plumbing company that I went to knows exactly what I did. So they know that they should have given me an opportunity, right?
Yep.
But I'll tell you another part that's really hard. Your perception is not always the reality. A lot of times you've heard that perception is the reality. Perception, no. If your perception, like we're in broadcasting, meaning that we cover a lot of subjects and we broadcast to all different people, right? When we use our digital tools, we narrowcast to certain behaviors and things of that nature. But if you have perception and your perception is narrow, then you need perspective. Perspective lends other perceptions. So it's almost like if someone would have, when you're younger and you're really trying to invest in yourself and get into your discipline, you find something, you hold on to it, and you work hard. But as you continue to mature, there's other things that's going to happen that's going to broaden that perspective. Your experiences broaden. And I think when you first start off as an AE and things, you're going to get some bumps in the road. It's a normal thing. Doesn't matter if you're an AE or if you work at McDonald's or if you work at wherever. It doesn't, at a store in the mall. It's you're going to learn some things. And I think that was the hardest part for me. But what I had to do is that hurt turned into being uncomfortable and then finding out how can I take this hurt and make it fuel for positive things. So I think that my perception versus perspective, the perspective widens as you attain more experience, right? Also, you can't just be a good person and assume that you're gonna be the right person to go into a room and make the sale. So I'll give you a case in point. I'm brand new and I'm nice. If no one has learned anything from Duvall on this call, he knows his stuff. He's been in front a multitude of clients. He's just told you about some of the things that didn't go so well, some things that really went well. He stated something that I love. If he can clone himself 20 times, that would be fantastic. What he's really telling y'all is he could make a lot more money, right? But he's only one person. I will tell you that if he had even 19 more of him, we'll count him as a 20, I would hire all 19. Okay? And so the reality of what I'm saying is this, and I mean that. That's not a joke. The reality of what I'm trying to say is you're going to have some bumps in the road. Things are not always going to be easy. Just remember that having good character, which is one of the components I talked about, character will get you in the room. Your business disciplines will help you to stay in that room or progress to another. So you have to be willing to go beyond the surface. There's a lot of things look beautiful and everything looks so bright. And then sometimes you get into it. And when you go a little bit deeper than the surface, now it's time to have a skill set in order to help that client. So the hardest thing is being turned down. Then it's up to you to take that fuel and make it work for you.
Absolutely. I love it. So we talked about the tough stuff. So Duvall, what's your favorite part of working in media sales?
I feel like it's going to be something that we're going to touch on in a few, but I have to be
Okay,
honest.
well, I was gonna say, we'll go ahead then. We'll go ahead. All right, so I'm gonna go to the next slide. So you want to work for Gray. Where should you start? You know, if you're still in school, I highly recommend you apply for an internship. That is a great way to get in there, get some experience, and figure out if it's right for you. But if you're in the job hunt, we encourage you to fill out a Gray talent profile. You can scan this QR code or go to grayishiring.com and fill out your profile there. It's a fantastic way to get noticed by our hiring managers. You'll upload your resume, you know, list your current job, the job that you're seeking, choose from all of our locations, the ones that interest you most, put in your date of availability. For a salary range, we recommend you put competitive market salary unless there actually is a salary that you are focused on. We don't want you to get excluded because you're not sure what to put there, so you kind of price yourself out of your dream job. But once you submit your profile, it will be pushed out to all of our hiring managers in our 114 markets nationwide. That's over 450 hiring managers seeing your information. It's pretty awesome. They can then review your materials and they'll reach out to you directly. Our hiring managers are in the Gray Talent Pool daily. I'm sure Ron's in there. I know that your news director is. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. But we've hired over 300 folks from the talent pool so far this year, and that number is probably a lot higher now. That's just the last time I've heard. So, and then I just also wanted to share this slide with you. If you're not sure, you know, where you want to go, or if you want more details, you can reach out to our recruitment team at recruiting@gray.tv, and someone will be in touch. I always suggest you connect with us and me and everyone on LinkedIn. We post a lot of jobs there, so that's a great place to find some of our openings. And you can also feel free to reach out to me directly. We can schedule a one-on-one meeting and discuss, you know, openings with you. Stephen as well. Stephen is a rock star. He will take very good care of you. So I'll drop some links in the chat along with my contact info in the next few minutes. But while I'm doing that, I have a few more questions for Ron and Deval. Gentlemen, a question I get a lot is, how much money will I make? This is hard to answer because it really depends on you, right? So what would you say to someone who asks, you know, what's the potential that you can make?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is what I said when you talked about the best part. It's here. I think for me, I mean, listen, I think my bosses always laugh when we talk about this as well, because they're like, wow, I love how brutally honest you are. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry. That's just the reality of the world. And I think it kind of is a test to what Ron was saying, is that the nicest person in the room isn't always going to get the deal. And I think that's the reality of realizing that your job in this world is to be who you are and achieve your goals. And a big part of that is having the resources, which one of those resources is money to do it. I think a lot of the opportunities that I've been able to achieve come from being able to have the security of not worrying about my finances. And so I would say this has definitely freed me up, not just as far as physically, especially being able to take care of other people, but mentally and spiritually. I mean, think about all the hobbies and opportunities that you have in your community. That's a lot easier when you don't have to focus so much on, you know, am I going to be able to attend this or contribute to this? And so as far as income, it is what you make of it. I would say for me, I started out, of course, with the guarantee, and I mean, really the sky's the limit. You know, you could be making over six figures with this career. And so really it's upon working with your team, figuring out what your goals are. You have a budget, and you can see kind of in the future of, hey, this is what I have set. This is how much I want to make by the following year. And that's how you obtain that goal that you have for your budget.
I'm going to say, first of all, Deval, that was an excellent answer. I'm going to say simply a lot of money. Okay. One thing you need to know about being an account executive, it is the only job in the world in which you can give yourself a raise anytime you want to. Now, it's going to be predicated on your knowledge and your disciplines, but you can give yourself a raise anytime. Duval knows right now that in January, he want to hit the ground running. He already has his goals already set for January, and he knows exactly what he wants to make. There's never been an AE on a staff, not a highly acclimated AE, that doesn't know what that check is going to be at the end of the month, right? They know what the commission is. When we bring the commission sheets around or we sign, they already know what the numbers are. They've already done the taxation. They've already done everything. But you know, if you go ahead and push, let's say I want to make an extra $5,000 this month. I know what that's going to take based on predicated on what I've been doing in my business practices to get me X. So I know how to get to Y. Okay. But the fact is you can make a lot of money. And I will be honest, I don't like to brag anything about monetary resources, anything of that nature, but I've been blessed in this career to be able to do really, really well. As an account executive first, then as a manager and so forth and so on. But just remember, you control your own destiny. And I don't know what the next question is going to be, but I know we're getting close on time. I do not want to get off this call, letting everyone on this call, I want you to know that we need you. We're not on this call for nothing. Like, we literally need you all to keep this essential business operating. It's only good as the next generation. It's only good as you. It's only good. Gray can only be as good in utilizing all of these products that are essential for serving the community if we're able to get you to come and take a chance. You have an opportunity to get into a company, get into sales, make a lot of money, and then also look at everything else that the company offers. This company is evolving as we're on this call. Trust me. There's a lot of smarter people than myself in this company, and they're doing their jobs and their disciplines to make us better. So I don't want to get off this call asking for you all to not only look at whatever else or whatever other opportunities you have, but we need you to be the Gray of tomorrow. Take a chance on us. We'll take a chance on you, and we'll do great things together.
I love it. If anyone has questions, drop them in the chat really quickly. Man, that was beautiful. So Duval, how about you? You know, I'd like to hear from you. You know, obviously you could have went to a lot of companies with your experience. So why should someone choose Gray, or, you know, why did you choose Gray?
That's a great question. I would say the reason why I chose Gray was because of the opportunity. As I did more research on the company, I was honestly a little bit thrown back by how big Gray is. One thing that I think, especially as young people, we love opportunity. So the more we can expand, the more that we can grow. You know, if you're starting out your career and you're like, well, I'm afraid I don't want to be stuck in the same position for 10 years. There's so many different windows that you can expand in this career. I mean, I don't want to talk out of my neck, but I mean, just even thinking about our company expanding into film studios, what opportunities are there as we grow in the Atlanta area? If you've seen that on the news, it's kind of public news now that we're growing into the next Hollywood. But Gray just offers so much. You know, a lot of times you hear people say like, yeah, you can make a lot of money, or yeah, you can really grow here. And then you get there and you're kind of like, okay, where's those growth opportunities? Where's that money? You know, and
right.
So that's one of the things that I love is like Gray actually stood 10 toes down on what they said they were going to do. And my boss says like, hey, I have more money making opportunities for you. We sat in his office. He presented those to me and I achieved them. That makes me feel confident in this company that they're actually going to do what they say they're going to do.
I love it. So Christine, she already said, hire me. So Christine, reach out to us. We'll chat. And then William asked a great question. He asked, how did you make your most successful sale?
I
will say sometimes you have to be really patient.
Yeah, very patient.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I would say, how did I make my most successful sale? Oh, I remember. So it was it was called Bio One. At that time, there was COVID cleaning for businesses. And I remember he was kind of thinking on it. And I actually drove to his office. I never seen his office. He had came to the station, but I drove to his office and handed him a paper contract and sat down with him. And I was like, hey, I just wanted to stop by and just say hi to your staff. I met his staff. We sat down, and then one of the cool things about kind of going out of your way is that they'll ask questions that you wonder why they didn't ask in the initial meeting. So it's just being readily available and opening more opportunity to them. I think he felt more comfortable when it was just me and him and maybe not my managers involved, where we were more formal. And then right then and there, I was able to get him to sign. So kind of went the extra mile, maybe shoving paper in his face, but it worked. So
Love it. And a follow-up to that, he said, how do you stay up to date on the needs of your target market? We didn't even talk about our cool tools at Gray. Jeez, I forgot.
so much to cover.
I know.
Do you want to answer this one, Ron?
You can go ahead, Devon. You
Oh,
go.
okay. How do I stay up to date? Typically, honestly, I'm very involved in community events and outreach, so I get a lot of mail as far as figuring out, where the market is moving towards. So, I mean, I'm involved in a lot of BIA data. We have a lot of great tools here. So we get, auto counts of, what's trending as far as in the auto market. So usually your research team and the people that you have at your station will give you market research on what's happening locally and even statewide. And then two, just our community involvement in different groups will give that information.
Awesome. I love it. Well, I'm looking at the chat. We have some excited people here. Cynthia, she's ready to go. Yeah. So, but I'm not seeing any more questions. So unless we get one in really quickly, we're going to wrap this up. Ron, Duvall, you guys are awesome. Wow. You've shared.
You're awesome too, Christina.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Brother Stephen,
right.
You're awesome too. And Jennifer, I know you're not on the screen. You're awesome too.
Thanks, Ron.
Welcome.
We're all. Well, everyone have a great day. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. But yeah, join us for our next one, grayshiring.com.